everybody, and welcome to Whiskey at Work.
This is another one of your bad ideas.
This is a bad idea because I'm drinking what you paid for. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Whiskey at Work. You've been waiting all week for this one.
I've been waiting 45 minutes for this one.
It's just going to be a big special episode.
You have a nice walk, Houston?
I did. I'm still so sweaty in this one. How good are these cameras in here? Because, I didn't get a chance to prep before I got in here.
It looks like you need a shower.
I feel like it. It's hot outside, man.
Ice bag on your head or anything?
So here we're going to drink some. I should have put ice in the whiskey this time. That would have been a good idea. Okay, so just you and I this week, and we're going to revisit something way back in the day, about 3 years ago, when we started this whole thing, when we were just getting into it all.
What are you going to surprise me with? What topic are you surprising me with today?
We were kind of surprised to learn that a lot of distilleries don't distill their own whiskey. A lot of big name distilleries don't.
Yeah, sourcing their product and putting their label on it.
And I think we were like, well, we'll never drink that because that's cheating.
Until you figure out exactly how many of them there are.
Oh my God, there are so many. And we've been learning that over the years. And I think both of us, our thoughts have changed on it a little bit, right?
A little, I think. I mean, there's some big name stuff out there that you, unless you research it a little bit, you don't realize that it's sourced. There's up and coming names and big name kind of established brands that are doing it. That's kind of, it runs the gamut, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, there's two of us sitting, one and a half.
There's two of us
sitting here, and 1.5 bottles of whiskey sitting next to us here. I don't like that. I don't like the pinhook bottle. Can I say that right now? It looks too much like a bottle of wine.
It looks like a bottle of wine, doesn't it?
Really looks like a bottle of wine.
Well, they're probably sourcing that shit, too.
They are. All right. Spoiler alert. We're just a couple minutes into this episode.
What California wineries got some Pinot Grigio bottles left over?
That's what they decided to do. Yeah, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about just a little bit. That now I think we have come around to being like, you know what, and I saw an article. I want to kind of credit the whiskeywash.com is where I saw this article.
We're not a trendsetter in this.
No, we are not at all. But I'm seeing more and more whiskey writers write about the fact that who gives a crap? If you like it and it's good, what difference does it make where you come from? I mean, we're going to talk about one thing, though, that really kind of irritates us here in a minute. But I think he's right?
Well, I think the fact that some of them are not exactly honest about their stuff is the trigger that bothers me more than anything. There's some big names on this list that maybe you know, maybe you don't, I guess, if they're sourced or not. But then there's some people that are just downright deceptive.
Yeah, and the thing is they're not good at the deception, though. I mean, if you can get online really easily and look up your favorite bourbon or whiskey, and almost, you'll have a whole bunch of articles that pop up that say, well, now this one is, might not be under this distillery or it might not be under this producer, but then they're just shady. I don't like any of this shadiness.
Some of it's a little sketch.
Well, the pinhook that we have here in front of us, which is a relatively new bourbon, is a sourced whiskey from MGP, which MGP, if you're not aware, is the giant. It is the big, I think 1 million barrels a year or something like this. It's a crazy number.
Oh yeah,
that they produce.
At least that.
And so
they're the biggest single producer of whiskey in the country, I think, aren't they?
I can't imagine how they couldn't be.
They're producing hundreds of sourced stuff, and I don't think they bottle any of their own.
Right. No, they do.
Oh, do they now?
Yes, they have 4 or 5, I believe, in their lineup that's their own product right now. And some of the reviews I've read on that, people are like, it's good.
Well, they got a lot to choose from. They
do
pick the best stuff and keep it for themselves.
I mean, you look at that list, you look at Pinhook. Of course, another big one on there, I believe, Seagram 7 is the one that comes from MGP, which
we
surprised
talked
me.
about that. That barely counts.
Tin Cup is one. Angel's Envy.
Bell Mead we had.
Yep, we did an episode on that one.
Didn't really look at it until after the fact.
And we didn't really like it, I remember, too.
I kind of did.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I know.
I kind of like most of them, though. So
we haven't found too many that Rob hasn't. But the names on there surprise you.
Dickel Rye. Isn't Michter's was on here?
Michter's is on there as well.
Angel's Envy at Rye. I mean, the thing that stands out to me, I guess, on this list is a lot of them tend to be rye.
Is that harder? To distill and produce?
I just drank it, dude. I don't know how to make it.
Well, I mean, rye is a grass. It's a grass that they used because they didn't have great wheat up in the northeast part of the country when they were distilling stuff. But I wonder if it's more difficult to distill with that than it is to distill with wheat and in other grains.
Or some of these guys don't think there's as strong of a market for it, so that they don't want to use their equipment and their rick house and their barrels and their space to do it, to age it. I don't know. I suppose there's a lot of factors that go into that, but a lot of these on here are ryes. I mean, the barrel stuff, the Bullet, the George Dickel, I mean, Redemption Rye.
They had the Sagamore from Baltimore as well, was another one that was on there from MGP, and it was the rye. So, yeah, there must be something. We might have to look into that one a little bit more.
Angel's Envy, I mean.
And see.
The Willett Rye. I mean,
right.
This isn't the rye, but.
No, this is the their. Which one is this one?
This is their bourbon.
Hold on. I might need a bigger version of this to see, Rob. I can't read quite what's on that bottle.
Thanks, Joni. Appreciate that.
Let me bring in one here that I can actually. Yeah.
Don't buy two while you're at the store, because the partner in crime won't want one.
Now Willett is the one of these that got me a little angry when I started researching it a little bit, because
I guess you're gonna have to give me that bottle then.
They do business under a lot of fictitious names, which I don't know why you have to. God, that's like opening a.
Well, there we go. It helps if you cut the seal first.
I love these bottles. The Willett bottle is one of the most unique bottles because it's based on
they didn't source
the pot still. No. This is
of course
distilled.
They didn't distill it. So
actually this one says distilled. We'll get to that here in a sec though too. But pouring this is a little awkward. Right? I mean, if I wanted to do a little,
we've been doing this for years. We can't hardly help but spill shit.
It's so heavy to pour that in there to get it. It's awkward. I'm afraid the neck's gonna snap. Honestly,
somebody's neck might snap.
So, Willett's good though. It's a very good bourbon, but we've learned that they are sticky everywhere now. They're shady.
I thought you were going all zen on me there for a minute.
Gonna bring it in. They started in 1936.
Why don't you just fill my bottle Kentucky. Up with that while you're...
No, I just love the fact that mine is bigger. So,
how did my tools?
They do a lot of their own brands, but they are a contract bottler for a lot of brands that are owned and marketed by others. And one of the big ones on their list is Michter's. They are a contract bottler and I believe a distiller or for Michter's, which. They put out some great allocated stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name mentioned on the sourced product ever.
Right.
And I wonder if that's common knowledge. I mean, I guess you being the great researcher found it in a couple of minutes, so somebody else must know.
Yeah, probably everybody knows but us, and we're just stumbling across it right now. But they did, they operated Willett Distillery. It's family owned. It's been around since, back in the 1880s. The guy that started it, his brother-in-law is Thomas S. Moore, which you'll know from Thomas S. Moore Bourbon, which is another famous brand. But they've operated for at least that long, and for a while. From
one that I haven't had, by the way, Joni.
The Thomas S. Moore? We haven't had that one? You can get it in town here, I think.
Can I?
I think we find it.
Once you get it in town.
I will, or I'll just ask my mother-in-law. She's fantastic at this. Between the early 80s and like 2012, Willett would have the word distiller in its name, or distilling company, or distillery, and they weren't operating as a distillery. So do we not have rules in this country anymore, Rob?
Well,
where is it?
That's the funny part, is that the American ATF, I think, is kind of spelled out
pretty clearly.
Rules that Scotch hasn't even started following or made their own set of rules up till recently.
Well, and bourbon, of course, is a very strict set of rules.
Yeah.
As is Scotch and as is Irish whiskey. But I'm just surprised that they were able to get away with this for as long as they have. and here we are. I haven't tried this yet. You said it's pretty good, though.
You had it when I had it.
I didn't have yours. Uh-oh.
Yeah, because you said, it makes a cool sound when you pour it out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this one did. The big one didn't make the sound.
Well, because you didn't tip it far enough. You got just a little bitty wussy.
Well, if you tip this far enough, you're going to drown in it, for God's sake.
Right. Yeah, thanks again, Joni. Appreciate that a lot.
But it is good.
I know.
Boy.
That's why we're trading when this is over.
So do you just give them a pass? I mean, at this point, if it's good and you enjoy it and it's at a decent price point, do you just say, I don't give a crap? Whatever.
I think that's kind of where I'm at now. I still don't like the shady deception behind it. I mean, if it says, distilled in Indiana, bottled by Pinhook or whatever it says,
right.
I guess I'm okay with that. But if they're making up fictitious names and doing that kind of stuff, that's a whole different ball game.
Yep. I agree. But again, I guess if you don't care and you like it and it's in your wheelhouse for price, then I guess buy it. So
well, that's kind of the funny thing too. I mean, if you're sourcing it and the price point is $200 a bottle,
Kentucky Owl,
that
looking at you.
Well, they're not quite that much, but there's some out there that are allocated sourced bourbon, and how come you can't make more? Somebody else is doing all the work for you. I mean,
right. But maybe that comes down to the blending then. Maybe you just got somebody that can blend this stuff really well, and they're making, they're just picking a flavor profile.
Well, and that could be too, but I get, there's a podcast that I referenced to you outside of this that, there's a bourbon a sourced bourbon for $70, and yet people turn up their nose at the exact same bourbon that they're getting direct from the distiller that's $40.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I guess the lesson is educate yourself a little bit if you're going to talk about it, which we try to, but we're still not very good at. He does a great job. I just drink it.
Well, that's why we pay you, Rob, just to drink. You're the pretty face that drinks on this whole thing.
Well, I was the one that was on time today.
You could always go to companies that are 100% upfront, which is a company like Jack Daniel's, and we've got to give them a little plug here because we have another big event with these guys coming up on Tuesday, August 9 is what it's going to be.
Tuesday, August 9th, 1 to 3.
The Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, the 82nd, of course, will be back. And this we had to take a couple of years off from doing this event. And we're excited to have it back. And you said that over half the tickets have already been sold.
Half the tickets have been sold, yep. And we just opened it up a week ago.
Not even that long. I don't even think it was that long, was it?
Well, by the time this airs, it'll be about 9 days ago.
And there's only 100 tickets available for this event. So if we've got 40 to 45 left, you should probably get online at loudamericanroadhouse.com.
Loudamericantasting.com is a direct link to the ticket page.
Okay.
It's $100, 100 people. All the proceeds go to charity, Sturgis Rally Charities.
That's the cool part.
I believe Galvin told me that they've given away $80,000 or $90,000 to this charity over the years of doing this.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's
and it's a
cool event.
It's a tasting with almost the entire lineup of Jack Daniel's products. You'll get the new Bonded and the new Triple Mash in this one too.
Which I asked our sales rep if they sourced any of their stuff, and he got offended at me because I didn't realize that they were making a single malt at Jack. And
they are? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
either.
they haven't brought it out as an individual product yet, but yeah, I'm like, hey, are you guys making your own single malt?
Boy,
and I know you make the rye, and I know you make the Tennessee whiskey, but where's the single malt cup? Everything Jack Daniel's is made of Jack Daniel's.
You didn't hear him throw the phone across the room after you did that.
I had to duck. I mean, it was weird.
But it is a fun event. It's a huge barbecue that they do up there too. So you're getting fed. You're getting to sample everything. You'll get your bottle. I think they're going to throw in bottles of Jack Apple this year, along with the commemorative glass that goes along with it.
Yeah, you get
it's well worth it.
You get a cool swag bag. You get to listen to the assistant distiller Lexi Phillips educate you on what they are what's in the bottle, what goes into it. You get to ask questions. I mean,
it's up close and personal with the biggest whiskey maker here in America. So
yeah, I've been through a handful of them. I was at one with Jimmy Bedford. I was one at several with Jeff Arnett. I had the opportunity to now master distiller Chris Fletcher came in one year, but before Jeff decided he liked the rally, I think, or maybe he had a scheduling conflict. I'll let him weigh in on that. Right. And now the assistant distiller Lexi Phillips is going to be here, and I can't wait to meet her. I think we're going to try to do an episode of this with her as well.
I hope so. We did one with. You can go back and find the one we did with Jeff too, a handful of years ago. That was before the Jack Apple had come out. And he gave me one of my most prized whiskey possessions.
Yep.
He gave us the little bottle of Jack Apple before it was available in stores.
It was like a 375. It didn't have a label on it. It said sample only.
Oh, it's the coolest thing.
The only instruction we got was, I don't want to see this on eBay.
Right. That was it. I wouldn't have thought. I mean,
is mine sitting in my office?
It is. I wouldn't have dreamt of doing that. Anyway, I think you can find a lot of. I know Pinhook they have out at Timmins Market too. I don't know if he's got any Willett out there. I haven't seen any out there.
No, I had to order. I think I ordered this. This isn't one of the. Is this one of the Germany bottles? I don't think it was.
I don't think so. But if you find one, if you come across one of these bottles, incredibly unique. They're really, really cool.
Shaniqua found a couple of them over in Gillette, if you're listening over there.
And what's inside is tasty, whatever it is.
I haven't had it since the first day, but we might have to rectify that right now.
We will. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's Rob and Mark. It's Whiskey at Work.
If you like it, drink it.